Where is my gracious Lord of Canterbury?
It's not here in presence.
Send him, good uncle.
Shall I call in the abbess, my liege?
And not yet, my cuz. We will be resolved before we hear him of some things of weight that task our thoughts concerning us and France.
God and his angels guard your sacred throne and make you long become it.
Sure, we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the law salique that they have in France or should not bar us in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion, rest or bow your reading, or nicely charge your understanding soul with opening titles miscreate, whose rights is not in native colours with the truth. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your reverence shall incite us to. Therefore, take heed how you impawn our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war. We charge you, in the name of God, take heed, for never two such kingdoms did contend without much fall of blood. Under this conjuration, speak, my lord, for we shall listen, note, and believe in heart that what you speak is in your conscience washed, as pure as sin with baptism.
Then hear me, gracious lord, and you peers, that owe yourselves your lives and services to this imperial throne. For there is no bar to make against your highnesses' claim to France.
May I, with right and conscience, make this claim?
The sin upon my head, dread sovereign. For in the book of Numbers it is writ that when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. But in accordance with the law salique, gracious lord, you may go, stand for your own, unwind your bloody flag, and look back into your mighty ancestors. Go, my dread lord, to your great-grandsire's tomb from who you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit, and your great-uncle's, Edward the Black Prince.
Await remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their feats. You are their heir. You sit upon their throne, the blood and courage that renown them runs in your veins.
Your brother kings and monarchs of the earth would expect you should rouse yourself, as did the former lines of your blood.
Never king of England had nobles richer or more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France. Oh, let their bodies follow, my dear liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right, in aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never before at any one time did the clergy bring into any of your ancestors.
We must not only arm to invade the French, but lay down our proportions to defend against the Scot, who will make road upon us with all advantages. You shall read that my great-grandfather never took his forces into France, but that the Scot, on his unfurnished kingdom, came pouring like the tide unto a breach. But England, being empty of any defence, hath shook and trembled at the ill neighbourhood.
There's a saying very old and true, that if you will France win, then with Scotland first begin. For once the eagle England, being in prey to her unguarded nest, comes sneaking and so sucks her princely eggs, playing the mouse in the absence of the cat, to wreak and havoc more than she can eat.
It follows then the cat must stay at home. Yet that is but a crush necessity, for we have locks to safeguard necessaries, and pretty traps to catch the petty thieves.
And therefore to France, my liege, divide your happy England into four, whereof take you a quarter into France, where you withal shall make all of Gallia shake. If we with thrice such forces left at home cannot defend our own doors from the dog, then let us be worried, and lose the name of hardiness and policy.
Calling the messengers sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well resolved, and with France being ours, we will bend it to our oar or break it all to pieces. Now are we well prepared to know the mind of our fair cousin Dauphin, before we hear your messages from him and not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give us leave freely to render what we have in charge, or can we sparingly show you far off your found meaning of our embassy?
I am no tyrant, but a Christian king. Therefore, with frank and uncurbed plainness, tell me the Dauphin's mind.
Thus then ensue, your highness, lately sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor, King Edward III. In answer of which claim, the prince our master says that you savor too much of your youth, and bids you be advised that not in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot travel to dukedom there. Therefore, stands you, meter for your spirit, this ton of treasure. And in lieu of this, he desires you let the dukedoms that you claim hear no more of you.
What treasure?
Tennis balls!
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His present and your pains we thank you for. When we have marched our rackets to these walls, we will in France, by God's grace, play a set that shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France will be disturbed with chasers. And tell the prince that this we shall not stand for. For we understand him well, how he comes o'er us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. We never valued this poor seat of England, and therefore living hence did give ourselves to barbarous license, as 'tis ever common that men are merriest when they are from home. But tell the Dauphin I will keep my state, be like a king, show my sail of greatness when I do rouse me in my throne of France. For that have I laid by my majesty and plodded like a man for working days. But I will rise there with so full of glory, I will dazzle the eyes of France. Yea, strike the Dauphin blind to look on us. And tell the prince, this mock of his hath turned his bulls to gunstones, and his soul shall stand sore charged with the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For 1,000 widows shall this his mock from their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down, and some are yet ungotten and unborn that will have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the Dauphin I am coming on to put my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. Get you therefore hence, and tell the prince his mock shall savour but of shallow wit, when thousands weep more than you laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct, fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, my lords, amidst no happy hour that may give furtherance to our expedition, for we have in us now no thoughts in us but France. save those to God that run before our business. So, let our proportions for these wars be soon collected, and all things thought upon that may, with reasonable swiftness, add more feathers to our wings. But God before, we will chide this Dauphin at his father's door. So let every soldier charge his thoughts, that this fair action may on foot be brought.
Now, all the youth of England are on fire, and silken dalliance in the wardrobe lies. Now thrive the armourers, and honour's thought reigns solely in the breast of every man. They sell the pasture now, to buy the horse, following in the mirror of all Christian kings, with winged heels as English Mercuries. For now sits expectation in the air, and hides